folks, I'm here with the secret sauce today, and it is all about when we should search for stock fonts and use stock fonts for machine embroidery. The thing is, if there is a single solitary time waster I've seen plague the embroidery digitizing community, it is the endless search for fonts. Whether tracking down a true or an open type original or looking for a pre-digitized version of a font seen in someone's art or in someone's previous embroidery, decorators are consistently cursed with the endless search for just the right version of the typeface in question. The truth is, we're often overly consumed with the finding of fonts. And the fact is, it's maximum effort with minimum results. The sad truth is, in many cases, this entire search for fonts is a waste. While some true type or open type fonts can convert nicely into embroidery with certain automated tools, even that result often requires editing to the point that drawing the shapes from which the letters are made takes less time than editing them down from the true type originals, particularly if the quality of the original font vector is less than spectacular, and it can often be the case, especially with decorative display fonts. When faced with a raster original, JPEGs, bitmaps, PNGs, things of that nature, and it's of decent quality, let alone if you have good vector source, the chances are any mildly skilled digitizer can recreate a small group of characters from true type, from the true type source. It's going to be slower. Usually we can do that small group of characters ourselves as fast or faster than we could do the conversion with the small character counts we find in a logo type. If you imagine the time spent identifying, finding, installing, and editing down the characters in the true type source, especially if you don't have any idea about the name or the origin of the typeface, if you've got a small set of 5 to 10 characters in a regularly simple font like we see in most typefaces for logo types, you're likely better off drawing the shapes themselves than searching for the font as far as it comes to efficiency. Think of a company name. Let's imagine Dennis Digital Designs. It sounds like it's a lot of characters, but it only has 9 original glyphs in it. Count them out and you'll see what I'm talking about. The rest of it is copy and paste. If this font were in a simple sans serif, the lowercase l and an I might be literal 4-point objects or a couple groups of 4-point objects to draw. The rest is all cut and paste. This is even more evident with short names and titles. If I see the name Hall or Bell on something, I'm not going to go search for the font because I've got 3 original characters to draw. If my art is clear enough, there's very little reason for me to go trolling the internet to try and find that original font. The truth is, though, there are times we should search. So when should we search for a font, whether the true type original art or an existing embroidery font? When should we search for it? Truthfully, it's down to whether or not we can see what we need to see to do our work, especially when we're talking about looking from the art. If the image isn't clear enough to guide you toward the clean edges you need for the font, or if you need to alter the text by adding text or adding characters that you don't have in your original art or sample, then you might be stuck searching for the font. That said, this doesn't necessarily mean you should spend your time searching for an embroidery-ready pre-digitized version. Much like the earlier rule of thumb, due to the fact that you're frequently renamed or altered for scale, pre-digitized fonts may be even more laborious to find than their true type or open type originals. Again, if you only have a few characters to digitize, the chances are you are better off just digitizing those characters than going straight to the pre-digitized fonts or looking for a digitized alternative. So when should we use pre-digitized fonts? Well, glyphs are complex shapes. They take considerable time to create. If the stock keyboard digitized font, the font that is ready for embroidery, is of sufficient quality and the customer is agreeable and it matches exactly to what you have in the original art, stock fonts can and should be used in those circumstances. This doesn't mean, however, that we should ever replace fonts with unmatched stock keyboard lettering, especially in logo types. Using a good enough font inside of a logo type means making your customer's embroidery look like a knockoff of their own brand. That said, department names, mottos, other personalization under logos, or if we have like a left chest logo and a right chest name and division, these should almost always be executed in stock fonts because they are highly customized and personalized and need to be changed readily. With the advent of the ability to replace or add alternate glyphs in some digitizing software, we can even tweak our commonly used keyboard fonts if we only have a couple of points of difference from a font that we need to use for a customer who's around and needs that quality, but also needs that editability, that personalization. Whether we're doing team naming or dropping a division name under a corporate logo, though, we do want to make sure that we are accurate to brand guidelines. Remember, though, whenever we're doing this thing, this is for commercial embroidery, and commercial embroidery is just that. It's commerce. The more time we spend, the less margin we're being paid. So we need to make sure that we control our effort and break out from this common fallacy that we have to search for every font that we find, especially searching for something installable as far as stock fonts. Hey, the hunt might be fun, but the opportunity cost of reduced efficiency isn't worth the thrill of the chase. And that is my secret sauce.